Hi there, I'm Scott Lowe with ActualTech Media. I'm here today at HyperGrid headquarters where I'm joined by the newly minted CEO, Manoj Nair. Manoj, thank you for having us here today.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for the shout out.
And the cloud market, this is a constantly evolving thing. It's been evolving since the beginning. What do you see happening now in 2019? It's an area that you are very familiar with.
Absolutely. We have been on this cloud journey since we started HyperGrid, about 3 years ago. And 2019, what we see right now is almost every organization we talk to out there is doing hybrid cloud. Some are starting the multi-cloud journey. Some are in multiple clouds. They don't realize that. The numbers say like 85 to 90% of people in the United States think that they are on a hybrid journey. The other number says that only 10% are really getting the advantage of the cloud adoption. And so that disconnect is really what's happening in the space that we are in, the tooling around cloud, the platforms in terms of helping customers with cloud adoption, management, governance, security.
I think it's been about a year since we've been here for the last RoadCast.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask what's new, and I'm going to guess that it has something to do with what you just talked about.
Absolutely. So we were very focused in the last, I would say, 15 months or so in getting our cloud management platform brand established and recognized in the market. We started with a hybrid cloud model, and increasingly, some of the key highlights, we had a SaaS platform launch for cloud management platforms. We have got recognition from multiple analyst firms. We're in the top, evaluated ones, Visionary for Gartner's CMP, which MQ, brand new, came out in January. Forrester did a wave mid-year last year. We were in the top 3 in terms of capabilities. And our partnership with the public cloud providers, that's brand new since last year too. All 3 providers we partner with. Probably the one that we're most furthest along is AWS. We were just granted one of the few ones who have a cloud management governance competency from AWS. So those are some of the big ones.
Well, that's a lot on your plate then.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
One of the things that's really interesting though is to see the role that security is playing in a lot of the cloud conversations. In the past, it was about operational efficiency, about time to market for new services. Today, the conversation is squarely around security, especially as we move into the multi-cloud. What are the challenges that customers are facing in terms of overall security as they look at making the journey to hybrid or multi-cloud?
Absolutely. See, public clouds, for all the innovation, acceleration they bring, they completely upend the old security model. You can no longer put moats around your enterprise and say, all the data in here is here, it's secure, now I can encrypt it, and I can put firewalls around it. The security professionals forever have been talking about security being built in, not bolted on. The cloud model forces that. So DevOps and developer adoption, for example, how do you transparently have security guardrails in place and policy in place without changing how the developers access these cloud services? The other one is the shared responsibility model. It is well understood. The cloud providers have very good security in terms of the cloud services. It is your responsibility. So the platforms are secured by them. The services have to be monitored and secured by you. And it comes down to your usage model as an end customer. Now, this is the part that I think a lot of teams kind of challenge, because this is really getting into the application and how it's built. And that's part of the big challenge we see is, security teams are now starting to feel responsible for the shared responsibility model within the enterprise and looking for the right kind of approach for this.
So what specifically is HyperGrid doing to bring this to reality, this help organizations adopt a shared security posture and improve overall security, and especially in the context of the CMP?
Absolutely. So the security model in the cloud, we have in fact recently launched a governance and security module of our platform. So there are multiple modules, one for planning, one for cost optimization, one for orchestration. The governance security is an independent module. It helps with firstly establishing guardrails for identity. So let's say a set of users within the enterprise want to use public cloud. Instead of creating accounts for them, we make sure that they can set policy and they can go directly to the public cloud without having to use an intermediate portal. And that also helps with things like, hey, employee leaves, what do they have access? Make sure it's shut down. So typical use cases there. The posture of these services. It's as easy as changing one policy. Maybe it's a typo. One of the big breaches that happened, Wall Street breach was around developer thought they wanted to share something with a colleague, and instead ended up sharing with the entire world. And that's something that you are responsible for because you did that as the end customer. We're able to catch that, monitor that, auto-remediate it if it is a high-risk issue, or send a ticket to the developer in the tool that they're using, Jira or whatever, and say this is a medium severity one, but you probably need to fix your encryption keys. And then finally, compliance. Compliance has been something that finally people felt like they had the handle in the enterprise. Now all of that kind of goes away with the shared responsibility model. So we monitor for compliance like HIPAA, like PCI, NIST, and all these standards. As people are using public cloud, let's make sure those compliance postures constantly evaluated and remediated if there are issues.
Are you actually doing data level scanning to help organizations maintain, especially with PCI and things like that?
Yeah, think about this as a data plane issue and a control plane issue. So we are really focused on the control plane, but we will flag issues that are happening in the data plane. So part of where we're going is to automatically remediate the encryption of the data too, not just the metadata and the configs and the keys, but there are very good encryption standards and capabilities in the public cloud. Part of what's happening is, the automation and the simplicity of using them. That's something that we're going to just incorporate as part of the platform.
I want to go back to something you said earlier, which was around this idea that customers may make a mistake. The natural inclination is they're going to blame, quote unquote, the cloud at that point. But going back to this idea of shared responsibility, there has to be clear delineations of who owns what. The provider's doing their piece, and customers have to do their piece, and you're helping them try to maintain that alignment.
Absolutely. The providers are doing a great job with the infrastructure, the service, and all the the core platform, everything kind of the underpinnings of the cloud, the data centers, the networking. Really, the cloud services is why do people go to the cloud? They go there because they want to build something faster than they could do on-prem. And the cloud has a fantastic menu of services, and with serverless and containers, it's just getting easier and easier. But someone has to be looking at the usage of those services. That's really part of the shared responsibility model we help with.
Very good. Manoj, as always, thank you for chatting with us.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for the time.
And thank you to our audience for watching this video.